Last night, they rolled into the speedway under cover of darkness. Not that any of those brightly lit trucks could hide. Positioned themselves in the NASCAR garage to get ready for today. From defending and recent champions of the 500 to contenders, the Clash winner, and the defending series champion, everyone is at the ready for NASCAR Cup Series practice on FS1. Presented by Toyota. Welcome to the World Center of Racing. Not since 1959, when this speedway was brand new, have there been so many questions to be answered coming into Speed Week. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Clint Boyer with you for the first practice and only practice before qualifying and the 150-mile qualifying races to set the field for the Daytona 500. So, driver, we have 2 practice sessions tonight. How do you want to approach them?
Get down to business. I'm ready to get in that hot rod. I want to know what I have for a car for the big race, the Daytona 500. I need to know if it's got speed underneath of it. Do we need to work on it? Does it handle good? First and foremost, I'm going to get out there, give my guys a lap. Oh, Larry, I need a lap to give you some validation, make sure our heights are right, nothing dragging off the bottom of this thing, and then I need to get out there and get to drafting.
Well, Clint, I'm a crew chief, and I am very, very greedy. Yeah, 2 50-minute practices to get ready to qualify and for the duel on Thursday. I want to make sure this thing drives good in the draft, but I want to see how fast we can run. You know what? We got a shot maybe tomorrow night at the front row of the Daytona 500, and that's a big deal. I guarantee you this is what this Hendrick group will be doing. They have sat on the pole, Mike, 6 of the last 7 Daytona 500s.
All right, Larry Mack will prowl the garage for this practice session, then join us in the booth for practice number 2 and share his insights. When we come back, cars will be on track.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. All of that anticipation in this very short off-season has all culminated right now. Talking to these drivers as they've gotten strapped into these race cars, there's a lot of nerves. There's a lot of anticipation. Some drivers a little more nervous than others. Hendrick Motorsports, for instance, they've had a different plan. You see a couple drivers sitting in the garage over my shoulder. Different plans of attack for this practice session. It's all about getting these drivers comfortable, but also seeing what the car has. Hendrick Motorsports, 3 out of the 4 drivers did not test here last month. William Byron is the only one who did all 4 testing days. They feel confident in what they have. They will not draft right now, but his 3 teammates, they need to get in that draft and see what they have, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. The track is open for practice. Cars begin to roll out as we take a look at today's Toyota driver profile with Regan Smith.
Mike, Martin Truex Jr. has won everything that there is to win in NASCAR championships, races on all different types of racetracks, but the one that has eluded him is a speedway victory. 0 for 67 on the speedways, and in particular 0 for 17 in the Daytona 500. I asked the team earlier if there was any added pressure to try and get Martin that all-needed Daytona 500 victory. They said absolutely not. It's business as usual for us. Today the plan, as you see him sitting in the garage still currently right now, they are going to draft with their Joe Gibbs Racing teammates early on. Once they get done drafting some, they are going to then focus their attention on getting as much speed into this race car as they can for Wednesday's night qualifying session. Thanks,
Regan. I remember we used to obsess over Truex having no short track victories in Cup. And then he went and ran the table.
Look out.
Yeah. The series champ, Kyle Larson, will be the first car on track. We'll take a look at times and compare them, trying to keep the single car run times separated from the wind aided times. Now, Dale Jr. tested for Rick Hendrick here.
Yeah, no pressure there, huh?
Yeah.
But I just see these guys going out, and just like I said at the top of the show, they're going to go out, make sure their heights are right, make sure we're not dragging too much. Whole new underbody of these race cars. It's very, very crucial to have your heights right, especially with that diffuser on the rear of this thing. You're going to see these cars way down in the rear, and everybody messing with that thing, and actually the gap in the front as well. So see some drafting here already.
Kevin Harvick, Michael McDowell.
Again, got to get your temperatures up, your gear temperatures all the way through.
And a little in-car listen to Alex Bowman and his team.
I got something going on with the brakes. Every time I can pump them up, and then they sit for a second, pedal goes to the floor, and keep them pumped up for this run.
Might have them push back a little bit for this qualifying lap to see what it'll run. Maybe they didn't tell the driver that. I see that car skewed a little bit to the left there, Mike. Trying to find some speed out of that thing.
No, you don't.
Oh, yes, I do. That's something that you're going to see. Them shenanigans, right? You're going to see a lot of different things, people playing with this new car, trying to figure out what it takes to make them fast.
Ryan Blaney coming up to speed.
I think he's pulling off. He's aborting, Mike.
Yeah.
That is not the racetrack, Mike. That is the apron.
You're right. One lap. All right, so today is the 15th of February. Earlier this week was Penske Day. 2/12/22 was Roger Penske Day.
I would say that fits. I passed a bunch of Penske haulers headed down here. I drove the bus down and passed all of his IndyCar operation heading back to the house. Good looking rigs.
Yeah, they tested yesterday and today at Sebring. Austin Cindric moves to the number 2, moves up from the Xfinity Series where he was the 2020 champion. Had an eventful exhibition race at the Clash.
Yes, he did. Look for these guys just to kind of obviously stay in line here. Again, talking about temperatures, talking about heights. It's one thing to have your heights right when you're by yourself, but when you're out there, obviously at speed, working in a draft like this, that's what they're looking for, is just to make sure that everything's good, nothing's dragging. Then they'll probably get back out there later and do some more.
Alex Bowman to the outside holds the record for consecutive front row starts in the Daytona 500. It is an active record. He has 4. If he starts on the front row this Sunday, he will tie the record for all-time front row starts, which is 5 and is held by a bunch of drivers who are right on the sheet next to you.
Pretty incredible what they've been able to accomplish, coming here and beating the competition on such an important day, being on the front row of this prestigious race. That means
5
something.
Front row starts. Bill Elliott, Buddy Baker, Cale Yarborough, Jeff Gordon, Richard Petty, all Hall of Famers.
Pretty good company there,
yes,
Mike.
Absolutely. Alex Bowman, who has the 3rd fastest time on the board behind Harvick and McDowell in the early going. In the early minutes of the first of 2 practice sessions today on FS1, the only practice before Wednesday night qualifying and the Thursday night dual races. And here off turn 4 come the Toyotas.
They certainly do. Got a big line formed already, working as a pack. Just go out there and again, everybody's just trying to get settled in, working on those heights like I talked about. It takes a few laps to get your temperatures up. So they're going to be doing that as they catch Denny Hamlin here. Probably slow down just a pinch. Let him lead.
1 by half. All halves now apart.
Really looking forward. I've heard some rumors down here in practice about some guys actually being able to connect, like you see right there of the 20 and the 19 almost did that. I want to see if these cars are able to connect and then push and tandem. That's going to be a big thing at the end of this race, Mike, if they're able to do that.
Absolutely. My phone just lit up.
Phone, we're working, Mike.
DW.
What's he want?
Hi, Daryl.
Hi, Daryl.
Glad you're watching.
Thanks for tuning in, D-Dub. Bet he wishes he's out there right now. Be holding a pretty wheel.
Now, every driver in this draft had at least 1 win last year. And as usual, the caboose is faster than the train. That's Bubba Wallace. Maybe lagging back just a little unintentionally at start finish and then gathering up to the pack on the lap will make you quicker than the cars in front, as Kurt Busch is doing right now.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting if you're Bubba Wallace right there, you can move out a little bit, make that wake wider, help your teammate Kurt Busch catch you. That's what he needs to do right there. Pan out, make that wake just a little bit bigger. If he stays in line right there, they're going to lose Kurt.
Denny
might
Hamlin
lose Bubba because of it.
Denny Hamlin to the top of the chart.
You just said the caboose. Which one is it? Your train's messed up, Mike. The leader just made it. The lap before was a caboose.
It's situational.
Not quite keeping up. Yeah, 10-4. Sit up.
Now there's a 2-car group out there, but this group is almost a second a lap faster, all lined up. Now you said Bubba and teammate in the same sentence. That's new.
Yeah, absolutely. Kurt Busch, I'm really looking forward. That's an opportunity for Bubba. Having that teammate, working that chemistry together. Kurt Busch is a great teammate. I had him as a teammate. He always helped everybody in the group, and he's a really good driver behind the wheel, so you can trust in everything he says.
23-11 expanding to a 2-car operation.
This is where I'm looking forward to seeing if these guys can connect and then drive back up to that pack. I say pack.
12 car lengths up to them.
12 car lengths is not what you want to hear, Mike.
Nope.
I think they let off, slowed down for him.
Well, that leads us to our eBay Motors team analysis. Or Team 23-11 for Bubba Wallace and Kurt Busch. Bubba, of course, won at Talladega last fall. And Kurt Busch joins that team as a past series champion.
Look for big things out of that team. I really do. I think they're going to pick up in a big way from where they were on the performance side last year. And I think the big reason is going to be Kurt Busch.
So they had Michael Jordan's number 23 for Bubba, and you know why they picked 45.
Why?
Because when Michael came back to the NBA,
he was 45.
That was the number he wore. 2, 3, 4, 5.
He was a lot better when he was 23.
And or was that his baseball number?
If my statistician up here if he missed that.
Talking to Jason about getting the other spotters, Kurt, seeing if we can rotate, see if it's just a product of being the back car or if it's something we've got. Yeah, Bubba's losing it now. I'll see what we can do to catch back up. He's talking to the front two about switching early.
So it's a very good point right there that you heard. You know, obviously he's falling back. He's losing the draft, and he was wanting to know if maybe that's a product of that last car. And I was too, watching these guys. This is what we talked about leading into this show. I want to have speed in my hot rod. You do not want to be Kurt Busch in that 45 and be lagging back and losing that pack. That's not a good sign.
Something else that's new this year, these cars have always had 4-speed H-pattern gearboxes. No more.
No more. Fifth gear. High gear is now fifth gear. It'll be interesting, I think, looking to qualifying when they get up through the gearbox that we all know is so important. A lot easier. There's no H pattern. You don't have to cross the gate, so to speak, from second gear to third gear. It's just bang, bang, bang all the way. Pull it back, pull it back, pull it back till you can't pull anymore.
Inside 20, then another 15 back to the 40. You're clear.
So there's the swap at the front they talked about. We're looking around the track. Most everybody else in small groups or single car runs, so
you can see
right
him
here.
bouncing that in-car camera right there. It tells me that those cars are very rigid. I had talked to a couple of the drivers that said these things are pretty stiff, almost coil bound, if you will, on the rear of these things, and it looks like it from the in-car right there in Denny Hamlin.
Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher. Was that a little bump drafting?
It was, but for it to be successful, you're going to have to stay connected. You can't bump him off of bump out of that bubble, so to speak. You got to stay attached. Two cars move as one.
And that's another thing we don't know. What will happen to the temperature of that trailing car?
It'll go up.
And how much?
Question is how much.
Right. Let's take another look here.
See his cow flaps come up. A lot of action right there, a lot of things that I'm looking at. The other thing that's new to these cars, again, talking to these drivers, they have foam behind the bumpers. So these things are soft. They say when you touch each other, both the front bumper of the pushing car and the back bumper of the car in front have foam in those bumpers, so it's really soft. It's not as solid as it used to be. Kind of hard to tell if you're touching them or not, is what I was told.
But also, you're not going to touch them and spin them out right away like with the old car.
Well, again, manufacturer-wise, and going back to what we have with this new car, everybody's kind of has that round nose. Last year, for the last several years, it was the Ford that has the more round nose, easier to push, Mike.
Yep.
The Chevys and the Toyotas were kind of a spearhead, like an arrowhead, and they were very hard to push. When they hit somebody in the bumper, it would throw them one way or another. Now, pretty much all of these next-gen cars have that rounded nose on them.
For more on these rigid cars, Regan Smith.
Well, Mike, Clint just talked about how these cars looked like they were bouncing around, how rigid they looked on the racetrack. Take a listen to what Austin Dillon had to say about his car a moment ago.
All over the place, really bouncing hard, moving around. Something's bound up in the back. It's just nothing like what we had driven.
To me, watching his car, it looked like he was on the backstretch at Fontana.
That's what he described too. But that's what I've been told, to find the speed, to find the juice. We know that diffuser in the back of these cars is where a lot of the juice is squeezed from, and to get some speed out of these cars. So you need that thing all the way down on the ground, but you got to control the height. They can't bounce down and take material off that thing. So you need a rigid rear suspension.
A 6-car Toyota draft at the top of the speed chart, led by Denny Hamlin. Welcome back to NASCAR Cup Series practice, part of Speed Weeks presented by Advent Health. Toyotas have been drafting not so much the Fords and Chevrolets, but for RFK Racing, formerly Roush Fenway.
Looky here, Mike. This is exactly what I was talking about. This isn't bump drafting. This is tandem drafting, pushing them, 2 cars working as one, and obviously skewed out a little bit to the right to try to get some air in that radiator. That's going to be very interesting, the cars that can do that and succeed. I think they're going to be the ones to watch in the Daytona 500.
Now, we heard Alex Bowman talking about an issue as he pulled out with his brakes. Larry.
Yeah, Mike, I talked to his crew chief, Greg Ives, and he said it actually just had a little bit of air in the line. I asked him, did you have the pads pushed back? He said, no, we would not do that on the first run or two, but definitely just a little bit of air. Didn't seem to be any concern whatsoever.
Okay. So, in a disc brake setup, the pad drags against the rotor. On your street car, you'd never notice it, but 180 miles an hour, that will take away speed. So when you push those pads back, tell the driver not to touch the pedal.
So that brings up a really good point about super speedway plate type racing. You don't want friction. Friction slows the car down, obviously, slows your momentum down. So on these racetracks, you put pushback springs on them, pulls them pads back away from the rotors, and a lot of times the first touch of the pedal with the man, look how I'm sorry, I can't even think anymore. Look how rigid this car is, bouncing around like that. Jar your teeth out. Look how rough that looks.
I've never seen that here. Not to that extent.
I tell you what, I've been in that Tootsie's bar before and kind of had that same view.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, but you were on a bar stool, not in the seat like Suarez is right there.
It's going to be, with as rough as that car looked right there, the biggest thing is when you're plate racing is looking in that mirror. Everything formulating in your mirror behind you. I wonder what the vision is going to do. Does that blur your vision? Does that impair your vision any to the slightest?
It has to.
Well, you would think.
He's seeing what we're seeing.
Surely he'll get used to it.
Jamie.
Looking at Ryan Blaney in the 12. He's way down there on the speed charts, 32nd right now, but he just went out and did that one run, just making sure everything is good, wasn't dragging anything. Then he brought it back into the garage, and they just swapped over. They are going to do a mock qualifying run right here. And I just talked to the team about swapping these new next-gen cars over. They said it's actually a little bit faster than the old cars, so they can make the swap, do an up-to-speed run, and then come back in and get some more practice time.
All right, thanks, Jamie. Martin Truex has gone to the top of the chart. 6 Toyotas that have been working the draft, now led by Truex. And now the Hendrick group has gotten into the act. Elliott, Bowman, Larson, 6, 7, and 8 on the speed chart. Ricky Stenhouse with them. in the 47, that now a single car team for 2022. Something else that's new, and we saw it from that in-car shot, is the array of mirrors and a rear view camera that the drivers are employing.
You know, I have raced with a rear view camera in the Rolex 24. When I raced that car here in the 24-hour race, it had a rear view camera, and actually I kind of liked it. You know, it's almost a more panoramic view. You can see around the car to the sides a little bit more.
And there is the camera down on the dash. I want one because today's race cars have so many bars at so many angles. A regular rear view mirror, well, look at it up at the top right of the corner. You're looking through bars. You can't see what that camera sees.
But I think that's something that you're going to have to, you have to get used to that. You can't just show up with it and say, all right, I'm going to go with a camera. That's a new thing. And I think that's a big part of why you see both in these race cars.
Agree.
My wife has one, for instance, in her car, and I hate it. I flip it off and use the old school regular mirror. You can flip the thing over. Man, that camera gets me all messed up.
Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland, new to the 38. Anthony Alfredo was not renewed by that team, so they have moved Todd Gilliland up to the Cup Series. Kevin Harvick with them.
Mike, you brought it up. The inlet and the windshield, the top of the windshield right there when you saw those cars coming at you, that sticks out like a sore thumb to me. You see it right there in between, right in the middle of the windshield. That's to let air inside the car. And also, at the back windshield has grooves cut in it that lets the air out of it. That transfer of heat outside of that car is a big deal for these drivers, especially at a track like this where you're just wide open all the way around.
Martin Truex Jr. under the bright lights at the top of the board. 5 Toyotas and 4 Chevrolets at the top of the speed chart in this first of 2 practice sessions on FS1 today. Some teams and manufacturers electing to draft in this session, and some will make single car runs here and save the drafting for round number 2. How about Alex Bowman? 4 years in a row he started the Daytona 500 from the front row. Nobody else has done that.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you bringing me fast hot rods. Come down here and start this big race up front.
Regan?
Well, Mike, a few moments ago, we showed Chris Buescher and his teammate Brad Keselowski doing a little bit of bump drafting. I want to show you guys the back bumper of this race car. This is where these 2 cars were pushing. You can see that the tape and the decal wrap is actually already torn just a little bit. Clint, something I always worry about when we come down here and you start pushing these race cars, where is it going to push on the bumper? But also, what is it going to do when it pushes? That's pretty gouged up for what a little amount of bump drafting they were doing.
Yeah, and you see that film that's kind of dull looking on the whole back bumper right there, Mike. That film is a slide. It's kind of a synthetic, slide that's a lot slicker than your paint scheme would be, so it doesn't hook the wrap like Regan was talking about. But the thing is, I see the most is that diffuser down low. You do not want to mess that up. If you mess that up, your car's speed and performance is gone. And it's not very far from that bumper that was drug off right there.
Reminder that Ford won just over half of the super speedway races with the 6th generation car, the one that ended its tenure last year.
Always seem to handle well. They not only handled well, but they pushed very well. As somebody that drove a Ford, I really, I love the aspect that I could push as hard as I want and be very aggressive on my pushes, because when push come to shove at the end of the race, you could either push that guy out or shove him out of the way and get where you needed to be.
Chase Briscoe coming in.
Had a good car at the Coliseum, did a good job. Was shifting, it was doing something, utilizing this transmission that we have, being able to shift in those corners. It was one of the only guys, and I think it hurt him in qualifying. We all saw it, and I was like, man, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Then we got to the race, and you could see him really pulling the guys up off the corners.
I guess just to put a period on that, he and Tyler Reddick both fell out of the race because under caution they were popping the clutch to try to clean the tires and tore up the drive line, tore up the drive shaft.
Well, again, you know, lesson learned. Look at this one, the money team. New team formulated. It'll be a lot of fun to watch Cosgrove make his way to the Daytona 500. See
Floyd Mayweather, one of the owners, and interesting that a number of new owner combinations are coming to NASCAR this year, feeling that the brand new car will give them a better chance of success than if they battle the established teams with everything that they've been using previously.
Well, that's the idea behind the car. The design of the car, you know, it's basically a store-bought car. You buy the parts and pieces from NASCAR, you put it together, and you go to the racetrack, and you have the same bucket of, or the same toolbox, right? Of tools in it than anybody else does. The strength's always going to be in numbers, but you still have a fighting chance with the same pieces that you know, a big powerhouse team like a Hendrick Motorsports has.
All right, so speaking of numbers, Floyd Mayweather is 50-0. If he wins his 51st fight, does he have to go and get that number from Rick Ware?
Man, I don't know. I think I wouldn't bet against him at that record. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
I don't think he's going to take a fight that he thinks he can lose either.
At speed, when you get down here and slow down, just keep it under the double yellow line.
That is quite a wrap. My goodness. Willie in the hand jive. Kurt Busch.
2.5, 2.250, 250.
Well, let's get you generationally caught up to date. The first generation, the founders generation of NASCAR, from 48 to 66. In 67, things got a little more serious and streamlined up through 1980.
There you go. That's my favorite.
Gen 3, 81 to 90. 1991, Gen 4, the cars that became the Twisted Sister and led to the ill-fated car of tomorrow, Gen 5, with that one only time wing.
Did not like to win. I like this car. Look at that one.
Gen 6, Boyer's car there from 2013 to 21, and the next gen now becomes Gen 7. And oh, by the way, these are forged BBS alloy wheels, center lock wheels with a single retaining nut.
And Larry has so much to dive into with this next gen car, but there's so many pieces of this thing that is just awesome. This car, the technology behind it, carbon fiber everywhere, just dripping in carbon fiber. The ductwork underneath of it, I mean, it's an engineering marvel. This car really is cool. I mean, a fast hot rod.
Now, the last two generations of cars, Rick Hendrick won the first race, first official race for each generation. With the car tomorrow, it was Kyle Busch, who couldn't wait to tell us his opinion of it when he won the first race in it. And then Jimmy Johnson was first with the Gen 6 car to go to victory lane.
Can he do it again? Another Gen. You can hear how quick those shifts are right there. I think maybe another one. No, we're in fifth gear. Oh, no, we weren't. There it is. Yes, he did. Held out on me. High gear, fifth gear. That's something new. You know, you always used to, I would be in high gear. By the time you came off of turn 2, you were already in fourth gear, high gear. You saw him halfway down the back straightaway before you ever put in fifth. I can't help but to think that won't play a big role on restarts. You know, who can...
Oh, sure. Which gear?
Or do you short shift? Do you ring it out? You know, what do you do right there with utilizing your gears?
Jamie.
Joey Logano in the 22. What a couple of weeks he's had, Mike. Last time we saw him, he won the Clash at the Coliseum, the first race with this next-gen car. And then 2 days later, his wife, Brittany, gave birth to a baby girl, their third child. And now he's down here, hopped in this car. The plan is just to get up to speed, make sure he's still comfortable. He did get a chance to test down here so they know what they have, but won't focus on qualifying at all. Want to get as many laps here as possible. Right now, he's working lap number 8.
Jacques Villeneuve, Formula One champion, Indy 500 winner, driving for Twan Hezemans, whose son Loris is a NASCAR Euro champion and will drive this car quite a bit this year. But Villeneuve runs some races for them in Europe, and they've tapped him to get this car into the 500. Now, they are one of the open cars. 6 of them are here for 4 spots in the field.
But what a cool thing to have such a, awesome race car driver, legendary race car driver that has won in everything except the Daytona 500. Why wouldn't we have him here? Sign him up, put him in, and I think he can get the job done. That guy is a wheelman.
Greg Biffle is back. He's in one of those open cars that has yet to practice.
I can't wait to watch those races and see who's going to be in this. I mean, obviously, a good qualifying lap, there's going to be somebody that makes it in there, but that's the most fun thing about, the dual races, is watching who has to race their way in, what they're able to do, what they have to sacrifice to get in that situation. It's always very nerve-wracking for those guys. That's always
The most fun day of Speed Week for me is to see how hard everybody's willing to push for a spot in the Daytona 500.
Well, it's just that, do or die situation. You have to get it in there or you're going home, and you certainly don't want to do that. A lot of work went into this, getting these cars prepared. And down here, how about this Fox Nation hot rod right here?
Landon Castle.
Good looking car.
Gonna run about 3 more here, try to get heat and everything.
So you hear him right there, 3 more laps. Again, gear, differential, you have your engine temperature, your oils, your coolant. You need to get everything up to temperature so they know exactly where it's going to ride.
And you have a rough idea of what to expect, but so much on this car is new. Instead of a transmission and a rear end at opposite ends of the car, they're both combined in a transaxle. That's familiar to road racers, but it's new to the Cup Series. Martin Truex still tops the practice chart. NASCAR comes to downtown Los Angeles and puts a quarter-mile racetrack right inside the LA Coliseum. Coming to green to start the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum.
And it's go time.
Kyle Busch draws ever closer, but in mid-straightaway, Joey Logano squirts away. White flag, last lap. Joey Logano leads Kyle Busch by 2-3 car lengths to the checkered flag.
Great work, man. Awesome.
Burn it down, Logano. Big win right there.
It was an exhibition race, but there's that checkered flag sticker on Joey Logano's Mustang.
Huge bragging rights. To go out there, a new endeavor, a new event that we've never done before, and be able to come out there standing on that roof as a champion, that was a big, big shot in the arm for him and his race team moving forward into this season.
He had a big day. Kyle Busch won his heat, ran him down in the last 20 laps of that race.
But he had
a shot at it.
He was in a hurry. Had to get home. Had a baby on the way.
Oh, well, that's true.
Congratulations to them as well.
Wallace, Bell, and Busch continue to work together. And for the first time, we have a pack of Fords. RFK. And, this is alphabet soup. Okay.
Starting to get some more cars in this line. Obviously, the Toyotas had a pretty big line and the fastest on the leaderboard here. It'll be interesting to see if they can get a few more cars and go faster than them Toyotas.
RFK and FRM. Roush Fenway Keselowski and Front Row Motorsports. Let's delve a little deeper into this rear view camera situation. Jamie.
Yeah, Mike, you and Clint were talking about it. It's something I noticed right when I walked in the garage. Drivers are adjusting to this camera. You see it mounted there. This is William Byron's car. That is his view. Now, they installed these in these race cars because those blind spots, we all have blind spots in our cars at home, are larger in this car. So not just over the back, but the sides, the peripheral vision as well. It's very helpful for these drivers. Once they know how to use it, they don't have to use that rear view mirror as much. And something to note, these will be in every single car, every single racetrack this year.
There's Greg Biffle. Man, they're going to have their hands full if they're going to keep him out of this Daytona 500. I've raced against that guy my whole career, and I'm telling you, he can get the job done.
Yeah, I guess the Biff never really retired. He
just shows up periodically, doesn't he?
Comes by now and then.
Gets off the old yacht down the Bahamas and dips into the Daytona 500. Try that out. Let's have some fun, boys.
And again, he will have to race his way in or time his way in. There are 4 spots available for these open or non-chartered cars. From each dual race on Thursday, the first to finish of the open cars makes the race. The next 2 fastest qualifying speeds among the remaining open cars also makes the race.
A lot of pressure on those teams.
And a lot of it out of their control. You know, you line up to qualify here for one fast lap. You pretty much got what you got. Not much.
As a driver,
can the driver do much?
Yeah,
yes.
Right. As a driver, I do agree with you, Mike. I mean, you just make sure that you get up through the gearbox, you know, as good as you can. Don't over rev. Don't hit the rev limit or anything like that. Don't short shift it too much. And aside from that, hold a pretty wheel. Hold it smooth down on the line. Don't get down on the apron and drag, you know, your side skirt or anything like that. Side skirt. They're not even side skirts anymore. I don't know what we're going to call that. I'll have to come up with a crafty name, but that's going to be something that's very important. Saw the header of that thing, the 6 kind of glowing red right there.
Still 5 back off of him.
Something we haven't seen for a long time is that left side exhaust pipe. That's what caught my eye. You always had it on the right side, both of them coming out of the tailpipe. The left side, it's what gives it these things. You see it right there. And look how red it is. That's cool looking.
Yeah. So the cars sound different with each bank of cylinders dumping out its own respective side of the car.
I think they sound great. Deeper, kind of has more of a rumble to it. I love the way they sound. You can see that diffuser right there in that shot, how low it was, very close to the ground, much like the splitter was last year on the front of the car.
So of the cars we've been watching, Todd Gilliland jumping up to 6th on the speed chart. Three minutes to go in the first of 2 practice sessions, so it's rush hour here at Daytona on the 2.5-mile tri-oval. And if you Ford fans have been wondering, what about us? Well, the Blue Ovals have now taken the first 5 spots on the board. McDowell, David Reagan, who's back to run this race for Rick Ware, Todd Gilliland, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher. And all under 47 seconds.
Doug Yates and company will be liking that, liking what they see. He's always bringing the steam under the hood when you come to these restricted blade tracks.
Let's check with Jamie.
Well, Ryan Blaney is finished with this practice session. We have one more coming up, though. What was your first takeaway, finally getting in the car here for Speedweek?
Yeah, it's nice to be back in the car at Daytona. We just did some very single car, 1 lap, mock run kind of thing just to see what speed we had and kind of figure out where you sit, and then you kind of go maybe do some drafting and see how our car handles. So nice to get out there with our Blue Def Platinum Ford Menards Ford Mustang. It's the first one of the year. I won't mess it up, but nice to be back out. I think we got decent speed, just now we got to get it driving good in the draft. That's kind of the 2 things you work on these practices.
All right, he'll do some drafting with his teammates coming up at the 6:30 practice. Reagan?
Well, Jamie, another one of those Ford cars who's always finds his way to the front of these speedway races, Eric Almirola. Eric, we've been watching on the cameras on TV. Looks very rough out there. What was it like from your perspective?
I felt like our Smithfield Ford Mustang drove fine. Just typical single car runs at Daytona. So we haven't really messed with the draft. We've been working on single car runs. I wasn't down here at the test, so just trying to get a feel for what it's like, and we'll go draft some this next practice.
All right, thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Regan. There's David Reagan's new ride, carrying one of his longtime sponsors on board for the 500. He is 2nd fastest to Michael McDowell in this practice.
It's Pretty hard downshifting right there, coming on the pit road, practicing. Going to practice pit road right here with Ross Chastain.
Fords 1 through 5 led by McDowell, Toyota 6 through 10, Chevy 11 through 14 on the chart. One year ago, final lap, the Daytona 500. 3 Fords out in front of Chase Elliott's Chevrolet, and it became a case of last man standing. And that man was Michael McDowell, who got his first NASCAR Cup win in his 358th start. And he won the biggest race of all. This Sunday, the most iconic day in all of stock car racing, the Great American Race kicks off the NASCAR season at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. So McDowell picks up right where he left Daytona last February, top of the chart, fastest in this first practice session. Let's visit with Jamie.
And Kyle Busch just taking me through his practice run there, top 10. What's your takeaway? What do these cars feel much different than the last time you were here?
No, I haven't driven these cars here, but if you're talking past Gen 6, yes, they do feel different. They're different in the air, the way they buffer the air, the way they're just in line, and how they push, and how much suck up, how much tow you actually get from the cars in front of you versus no one behind you, somebody behind you. So just kind of running through all of that stuff right now, and being in the TRD pack, you know, there wasn't much to learn. It's going to take 20, 25 of them for sure to kind of get a really good sense of handling and everything that happens, and we won't see that until we get into the duels. So, so far so good for the M&M's Camry, and yeah, look forward to the week.
30-minute little break here, and they'll be back out for another practice, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Here are the results of opening practice, and most of these runs were in the draft. All of these for the top 10 and most of the top 20. Notably, the fastest car not locked into the race, Greg Biffle in 17th, Noah Gragson 18th. We'll get a better idea 30 minutes from now in practice number 2, the last practice before qualifying and before the duels. So next on FS1, NASCAR Race Hub, and we'll be back in 30 minutes with a NASCAR Cup Series second practice. Here's Shannon Spake.
Thank you so much.